Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ngani Titan. Must say that it's over 4 years now since I've been playing World of Tanks. I have my 4-year service badge pops up every time I play a new tank. I've actually put it on the Comet because it was one of my first real favourite tanks. I suppose I started playing World of Tanks partly because I was interested in tanks. And I was a war gamer from way back my 20s when I had the opportunity to play war games, mostly paper, cardboard chits on maps rather than miniatures wargaming. And I did a lot of Western Desert battles and campaigns with back in that period, so I was very interested in British armour and the performance of British armour, and I had opinions on the matter. Now I've forgotten a lot of the details since, and I wouldn't consider myself an expert at all, or even remotely nowadays. But one of the things that I remember was that the Crusader got a lot of flack as a tank, but anything I read suggested that it actually performed reasonably well against Panzer IIs and Panzer IIIs that the Germans had. The problem was that it had very high breakdown, it had huge maintenance issues, and the other problem was the British armour, particularly the cruiser units, behaved more like cavalry, and they didn't coordinate very well with the rest of their division. Now that was a doctrine and training issue by the British, and it comes from the kind of doctrine that they took from the 1918-1919 era, which they adopted over the favour of the kind of combined arms doctrine and general purpose tank approach that the Germans and the Americans adopted, and the Russians to a certain extent. Even though the British had considered that as an alternative, they just never followed through on it or adopted it. Various reasons: finance, politics, cost, the politics of the British Army and stuff like that was part of it. The whole British class system comes into it as well. But the British never quite got themselves straightened out, and they were still producing cruiser tanks right up to the end of the war. The Cromwell and the Comet were cruiser tanks in conception, but they were more heavily armoured and better gunned. They were actually carrying the same kind of guns as the British heavy tanks. Now the British heavy tank guns were a bit light for heavy tanks, by anybody else's standards. But when I played through anyway, I realised very quickly that World of Tanks as a game wasn't going to answer any questions or show any insight into these kind of matters. It's too arcadey, and the physics emulation is too arcadey and a bit too wargamey, really, in many respects, with the whole hit points system. But I still had played through. I mean, I had been playing away at this stage. But the first tank that I really started to enjoy was the Cromwell, and the Cromwell had a really nice gun. The gun handling is terrible in the Cromwell. Aim time is really long, and it wouldn't hit the side of a barn from the inside on the move, unless you were very close to the walls of the barn. But it was fast and it was quite fun, and you could, if you were close enough, circle strafe heavy tanks to death and things like that, and that was a lot of fun too. But the first British tank that I really, really enjoyed, unambiguously enjoyed, was the Comet. And I thought, well, I'm playing British premium tanks for the last week, and today's Thursday, I'm recording this. And I was playing them for the last week, and one of the crews that I had trained up in a skill was the Comet crew, the replacement crew that I had assigned to the Comet. But I'd never really played the Comet in the last 3 years. Much. I might have played a few games, but not a whole lot. Not since I had grounded out in Elites and got the Centurions way back 3 years ago or so. Anyway, I thought I'd break out the Comet, put the crew into the Comet, have a few games in the Comet. And I had a couple of really good games. I had actually 2 first-class mastery games. This is the second one, on the basis it was easier to find among the bunch of recordings. And I show this one first, and we're on Ghost Town, which is not the kind of map that really suits a not terribly heavily armoured medium tank. But, you know, I'm having a ball here, really. I've had a good result, and I didn't really have to work for it. I did a bit of work, I suppose, but I didn't have to work very hard to get the result that I've gotten on this map. Now, it helps that I've had a good team. It isn't all down to the fact that it's just me or anything. I'm not carrying the team or anything. I had a good team, and I've been able to flit around in the fringes and periphery of this good team and exploit the opportunities that they presented me with. And this is an excellent tank for doing that sort of stuff with. When I had it originally, it was kind of godlike on ridgelines and stuff like that. It's reasonably stealthy. You have very good gun depression, and you have very good gun handling, so you can actually peek over the ridge, just auto lock, snapshot. And if you're top tier or middle tier, you have a reasonably good chance of penetrating the tank that you're shooting at. So I've always enjoyed this tank, and when I came back to it today, I found it very enjoyable again, and I have managed to get it up over the 80% damage standing, so I'm seriously considering playing this for quite a while more and seeing if I can actually put a second Mark of Excellence on it. I don't remember getting the first Mark of Excellence. I may have played it well enough to have gotten a Mark of Excellence at some stage, or I must have at some stage. I don't really remember doing it. We didn't come number one by experience. We were fourth. There's a T29. Tiger 1 did very well. That T20 did really well. 2,400 damage and 5 kills. That's very, very good on a T20 on that map. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please share and give it a like. If you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. And thank you all for watching. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now. Have a good weekend.